If you hate playing doubles when your partner is the weakest player on the court,
Heads up.
then you've clicked on exactly the right lesson.
Heads up.
I'm about to take you through a real-life case study of a game of doubles where I was actually the net player right here. My partner was serving, and she has the least weapons on the court. All three players here that I'm playing with are 4-0 competitors, but the players on the other side have much more weapons, much more offensive-minded, and my partner is much more defensive-minded. And she doesn't have a big serve, and this happens all the time, right? So I wanted to walk you through exactly how I handled it so that you can cheat off of some of my strategy and use it yourself. So I'm going to play through the first 2 points here because they're pretty uneventful. First return gets missed. The second return gets made, and I want you to notice how the returner comes right in behind it and is looking to attack, and watch what I do. I'm like getting the heck out of there. And I decided at first to just let things play out. And so I'm squeezing towards the middle a little bit, but I'm not making any kind of fancy like poaches or moves or anything or fakes. I just want to see what's going to happen and how this is going to play out at first. And when I see this return go in play and my opponent and ping come right into the net and I feel my partner back behind me getting put under all this pressure, I'm really not liking how this is playing out, and you can see me backing up and getting the heck out of there because I'm getting ready for either of my opponents to just smash the ball at me, which is what happens all the time in doubles. When your partner's kind of the weakest player on the courts, they get isolated back behind you, and now you're just put in kind of an uncomfortable position. So I decided after that second point, now it's 15-all and we're even, that I'm going to have to make something happen here if we're going to have a chance of winning this game or winning the match in general. So I want you to look at how initially I'm just kind of stoic and just standing there. And on this point, I decide I'm going to start getting involved. And I make a move here that's timed with the forward swing of my opponent's racket. I just uploaded another lesson all about this one topic. We'll link to it down below. Go watch that. Don't have time to dive into it now, but that's the sweet spot for movement on the poach. So this is my first initiation, and I'm rewarded with exactly the ball I want. Shoulder high ball, middle of the court, and I make a terrible mistake here and hit it back to the baseline player. Don't have time to get into this, but this is like a classic mistake that I get on my students on all the time. And as soon as I hit it, I was so disappointed with myself. That gives the baseliner the chance to reset the point, play defense, get back in it, and now we got to scramble, and now we're back to where I don't want to be with my partner getting pressured back here on the baseline with two really offensive, athletic players, and that ball gets put away. So I'm really disappointed with myself here. Got the opportunity I wanted, but guess what? I didn't quit. In fact, I like what I'm seeing here. Like, I got the opportunity I wanted. I just want you to keep that in mind, and this is going to start to layer a little bit. All right, so let's go to the next point. So on this one, I decided to just kind of hang back. No big deal. And thankfully, the return gets missed again because I wasn't doing anything special or fancy. And I'm just kind of letting it play out to see what's going to happen. And again, the return gets hit. She's coming in behind it. She's disappointed she missed it. But I really don't like how that's lining up for the future. I know I've got to make something happen here, or else this pattern is just going to keep playing out again and again and again. Eventually, they're going to get used to these weak serves from my partner. They're going to start making all of their returns. They're going to start coming right in behind it, pressuring, and totally take me out of the match. These are two very competitive, very smart players, big weapons, and I just don't want to let them do that. So here's what I do on the next point. Remember, previous point against this player, I waited and poached. Now look at this time, I moved super early. The reason is I want her to see me to bait her to go down the line. And so I'm catching my momentum and pushing back right as she makes her forward swing. Now, critical mindset element here. Am I giving up some of the alley? The answer is absolutely yes. You've got two choices here, like broadly speaking, big picture. You can either cover your side, and against two aggressive, offensive, athletic, strong opponents like this, they'll just be like, thank you very much. Hit every ball cross court past you and isolate your partner over and over and over and over again. So your second option, you can't be in the middle and on your side of the court at the same time. There has to be a trade-off. You can't be in both places at once. And so I've already executed a poach, and now this time to mix it up, because I know that opponent, the returning player, is not going to just keep hitting it to me in the middle of the courts. This time I decided to mix in a fake. She takes the bait, and I actually get close to what I'm looking for, but I decide to let it go because I think like maybe it's floating and going out, and I was totally wrong. And it's inside the court by, a couple feet, maybe 2 feet or so. So is that an easy shot for her to hit? A ball a couple of feet from the line? Absolutely not. Am I disappointed that I let the ball go? In the short term, yes. But big picture, I actually like how this is stacking up. And I'll show you why. Let's keep going. Hey, it's Ian. I've been working on something super special behind the scenes, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. To find out what it is, just go to essentialtennis.com/studio. Okay, on the very next point, it's now 30-40, so it's break point. And honestly, in hindsight, by now, I really think I should start putting some pressure on this player in pink, but I'm still letting it play out. I'm just going to go ahead and play this point out. And I give her the cross-court shot, and my partner comes up with a huge shot down at her feet and causes the error. So huge save by my partner. We're back to deuce, and now at this point, I'm really thinking I got to go all in on making stuff happen up at the net. So what do? I go early again, catch myself again, and get her again to go down the line. And again, she hits the ball so close. So I'm like, let's find out what happens here. And the ball lands 6 inches from the line. Watch my reaction here. Oh my gosh. So perfect shot back to back from this opponent back on the baseline. Now at this point, a lot of you watching are probably like, Ian, give it up. There's a losing battle. And I need you to take a big picture perspective here. Think about this and just put this topic like on the back burner for a second and answer this question. What percentage of the points that you play do you need to win in order to win a tennis match? If you watch a lot of professional tennis, you'll know that a lot of times it's split 50-50 evenly. Like somebody's got to win and it comes down to like the last points. Occasionally, a person who wins less points actually wins the match. Sometimes there's 49-51. You can actually win a tennis match with 49% of the points. That doesn't happen very often. It's an occasional thing. But if you're on the 51-49% of things and you have the 51% of points, it's a high probability that you win that match. So in my mind, I'm thinking as a doubles player, honestly, and as a net player, I'm a net rusher in general. Singles, doubles, I need 51%. I do not need to win 8 points out of 10 or 7 points out of 10 or even 6 points out of 10. All I need is 51%. And what's happening here so far is, have I gotten burned a couple of times? Yes. But what's happening is the opponents on the other side are choosing where I want them to go the way that I want them to. In other words, I'm suggesting, hey, I think you should go over here, and they're listening to me. And I know that over the long run, those odds are going to start to lean in my favor. She can't keep hitting a ball a foot or two from the line every time. Sooner or later, I know that the law of big numbers is going to work in my favor in the long run. So with that in mind, now it's break point again. And guess what? I'm going to go right back to the well again. I'm stubborn, and I've just made up my mind at this point. Okay, haven't really pressured the player in pink yet. Let's go ahead and go to work on the player in pink, especially since, honestly, I feel like I've been really successful against the player in black. Has she beaten me more times than I've beat her? Yes, but successful in the sense that the way that I'm trying to manipulate the points is totally working. So this time, since I haven't done anything fancy against this player in pink, I'm just waiting until she starts her swing, timing my movement with her swing, and I get not the easiest ball, but guess what? I take the pressure off of my partner who's sitting back there on the baseline, sweating it out if I just stay on my side and having to come up with incredibly difficult shots from back on the baseline, whereas I can just get a ball a couple feet from the net and just block it and come up with the winner. So that time, it works. Fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Now we're back to deuce, and we're battling it out. Okay, guess what I'm going to do this time? This is going to be a third option that you can have in your arsenal. This time, I'm going to show her an early move. What has happened so far? The layering here is very important. The first thing I did against this player in black was a poach. I timed it with her forward swing. Number 2 and number 3, I went early, and then I went back to draw the down the line shot. That's called a fake. Now I'm about to give her the third option, and it needs to go in this order, okay? Watch what's going to happen here. I make the early move, stop, and then actually go as she hits the ball cross court. And I get exactly the ball that I want, and this time there's no way I'm hitting it back to the player in black. And I get a little bit luckier, just thread the needle perfectly right in between them. But I want to go over this again. I call this a fake. The previous 2 points, I faked her successfully. And now, so this would be the third time in a row. And she's like, oh, I saw Ian move early last time. And there's probably a part of her too that feels like, man, how many shots can I hit that land a couple inches from the line? Like eventually my luck is going to run out on that down the line shot. So I'm not going to fall for that fake again. I'm just going to go cross court. And I go right as she makes her swing. Notice I'm not fully committing. I'm just taking a side shuffle to get myself to the middle. But also notice I am leaving the alley. Had she decided to go down the alley, she could very well have beaten me. There are no guarantees here. This is educated guesses. This is playing based on patterns. This is seeing the response and the reaction from your opponents, judging how sensitive they are to your movements, and then just trying to get one step ahead of your opponent, one little step ahead in the strategy play and in the pattern. And so this worked out absolutely perfectly. And guess what? This gives us game point now. Fantastic. What happens here? This time, for the first time, I fake the player in pink. I go early, catch myself, push back, and she just hits the ball right to me. And I'm able to put that away to get the game. So notice the layering here. I started off just working on the player in black. And I went poach, then 2 fakes, and then a fake. The player in pink, I only went to work on twice. I did 1 straight up poach and then 1 fake, and I got the ball both times. I'm the one in control. They are not. I'm taking control away from them. In normal, everyday life, if I didn't have this boldness of like making these moves, I'd just be covering my side. They would hit back to my partner, back on the baseline, and my partner would have to either come up with perfect lobs or perfect passing shots over and over and over again to win this game. And I'm taking that away from our opponents. 6 times I made a move, and they did exactly what I wanted them to. Let me show you the stats here. Total points played in that game were 10. And keep in mind, I didn't go all crazy on every single point. I let 4 points play out. I intercepted 4, and I got caught twice. If I let those 2 shots worry me and bother me, I would have let those other 4 go by and not had the impact that I did in the game. Now, here's the crazy stat, though. 10 points got played. My partner only had to play 3 shots. The entire 10 points, not counting her serve. Because I was in there manipulating my opponents, making them try stuff, making them beat me down the line. And you have to have big picture kind of statistics-based mentality. You only need 51% of the points to make this work, and you're in the lead. So use the poach, use the fake, use the fake. You can totally be in control of these points, take the pressure off of your partner, and win in spite of them being the weak player on the court.